Our next speakers are Joselyn Hayes. Joselyn is a mental health counselor with over 25 years of experience in medical and community social work, offers expertise in cancer care, grief, loss, and chronic health conditions. Joselyn has worked as an oncology social worker helping cancer patients and their loved ones. Interestingly, she was diagnosed with breast cancer while serving in that role. Being a cancer survivor gives Joselyn a unique perspective in helping those affected by cancer. Joselyn uses a trauma-informed approach, and her clinical work draws from mindfulness and resilience theories. Joselyn is trained in EMDR. Joselyn works with children, adolescents, and adults. Joselyn takes a holistic approach with clients, helps them to identify their strengths, and encourages positive change. Joselyn is down to earth and creates a safe space for her clients to heal and grow. Clients working with Joselyn can expect a relationship of complete acceptance, free of judgment. And she is presenting today with Miss Marci Fehlhafer, who is Wellness Community Navigator. She has a bachelor's degree in organizational communication from the University of Nebraska at Kearney and has experience establishing training programs and program development. After working in the insurance industry for almost 19 years, Marci joined the Southeast Nebraska CASA team as executive director in 2016. As executive director, Marci built a program of staff and volunteers who advocated for abused and neglected children. Marci was diagnosed with stage 4 inflammatory breast cancer in 2018. After chemo, surgery, and radiation, followed by more chemo, she knew she wanted to help others who face a cancer diagnosis. She learned many people face a diagnosis alone and don't know that they can ask for help. So in April 2021, Marci became a certified peer support specialist in Nebraska and started an online support group called Cancer Talk, a peer support model of the shared lived experiences. In November of 2022, Marci completed her certification as a life and health coach through the Health Coach Institute and launched a coaching business with her website, www.thirddownpunt.com. In July 2023, Marci started working for Wellbeing Initiative in Lincoln and currently works as a wellness community navigator. This allows her to use lived experience to support others. Marci loves helping people and uses her integrity, grit, and sense of humor to help her find hope and share hope each and every day. Please welcome Ms. Joselyn Hayes and Ms. Marci Fehlhafer.
We're going to try not to use the microphone, but I want to make sure in the corners you can hear me. There's a thumbs up. There's a thumbs up. Okay, good. That will give us kind of some flexibility. I like to roam around. And another thing we always like to say is, if you have a question while we're presenting, we want this to be interactive, so don't wait till the end. Holler it, raise your hand. Clap your hands if we don't see you. But please ask your question as it comes to you, because I know as survivors, sometimes the thought comes and the thought leaves all in about the same thing. So if you've got it, we want to support you. So go ahead and next slide. We'll introduce ourselves. Thank you, Tracy, for the introduction. So my name is Marci. I am a stage 4 inflammatory breast cancer survivor. One thing that was not in my introduction, because it just happened, I did have a reoccurrence, which is terrifying, right?
Yes.
It came back in my brain, and I just finished brain radiation in December. So again, that 1 minute of train of thought, it's a real thing. So I'm coming to you with my heart, and I want to give you support. I do work at the Wellbeing Initiative. It is a peer-run organization, so everyone that works there has some sort of lived experience. My lived experience is with mental health and cancer. I said before I was diagnosed, I struggled with anxiety, and then I got cancer, and it was like they poured Miracle-Gro on me. Because then I became terrified with everything. So at the Wellbeing support groups for everything. And we'll kind of talk more about that, but that's me. After I got cancer, I just prayed that somehow God would use my experience to help others. And I learned about the Certified Peer Support Program, became a Certified Peer Support so that I could come out and say, I'm not a medical provider, I just have a lived experience and I want to walk beside you in that lived experience. So that's me.
Tracy, thank you for, where did she go? Tracy, thank you.
In and out.
She's amazing. Love her. I'm Joselyn Hayes. I actually met Marci through her cancer talk support group. It was actually the week that I got diagnosed with breast cancer, and we've become really good friends, and now we kind of joke that we're taking our show. So,
Christy to always lead chair yoga before, because that was amazing. So thank you.
Jocelyn, will you talk just a little louder?
oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was diagnosed with breast cancer in November of 2021.
Maybe a little louder.
Do I need the microphone? Is this better? Okay. So I'm Joselyn Hayes. Did you guys hear the other piece, or should I repeat? Very good. Okay. So I got to know Marci through her cancer talk support group, and in fact, it was the week I got diagnosed with breast cancer. I joined her group, and I was a wreck. And we've become really good friends. So excellent friends. So now we joke and we say we take our show off the road. So I'm a social worker and I'm a mental health therapist. And yes, back to my diagnosis. I got diagnosed in November of 2021. Initially we thought that it would be a lumpectomy followed by radiation, but then we found that my lobular carcinoma was larger than we thought, which led to bilateral vasectomy. I chose not to do reconstruction, so I just went flat. And then I had positive lymph nodes, which led to chemo and radiation. So now I'm on a tamoxifen, which I'm sure people in here, someone's on tamoxifen as well. And then I still see Tracy usually every month just for all that tightness from my radiation. So thank you so much for having us here today. I do, I guess I didn't say it, but my business is Cosmos Counseling, and then I'm also a palliative and supportive care social worker at Bryan, and then I also do counseling at NHL. So thank you for having us today.
I'm just going to talk loud, but if there's any point you cannot hear me, please let me know. So, as we all know, a cancer diagnosis does come with the shock, disbelief, the fear and worry, the difficulty to sleep, and the constant worst case scenario thinking. And I like to tell people that stuffing fear down is one of my superpowers. Like, I just try to pretend it's not there, right? That's not healthy. I'm not doing any justice to myself or any of my situation or my family. I was listening to a podcast as we were getting ready to prepare this. I love to listen to podcasts. And John Acuff, I don't know if anybody knows him, he is an author and has a podcast. It's called All It Takes Is a Goal. And he talks about soundtracks that you want to repeat to yourself. And on this particular podcast, he said, fear gets a voice, but not a vote. And it was one of those that I was like, I need to listen to that fear, because sometimes fear is important, but it doesn't get a vote. It doesn't get to rule my day. And that's what he went on to explain. Like, he said you can look at, yes.
Tell me again the title of the podcast.
Absolutely. All it takes is a goal.
Is a goal.
Goal. G-O-A-L. All it takes is a goal. And his name is John J-O-L Acuff. A-C-U-F-F. And he has great books. I really enjoy his podcast. I actually live in Utica and work in Lincoln, so I have an hour drive. So podcasts are my jam. So if you have a good podcast, please stop at our booth and tell me about it. Because I won't remember if you tell me now. to acknowledge you, but I'm not going to let you rule the day. You don't get the vote. You get a voice, but not a vote. I really, really like that. Because like I said, I've always struggled with anxiety and fear and what ifs, and then I got cancer and the worst case scenario actually happened. Especially when my doctor, I remember looking at the PET scan and going, how long do I have? Because it was stage 4 from the beginning. And I loved his answer. He said, statistics say you have 2 to 5 years, but those are old statistics and not your future. Old statistics and not your future. So even when it came back in my brain, I was like, okay, this is my last Christmas. But you know what? They keep coming out with more treatments. Hope, hope, hope. There's always hope. Stay with the hope. Okay.
So you think oftentimes we think about grief in relationship to someone dying, right, or a death. But grief comes in so many other forms, right? You think about loss of friendships or relationships or body parts, or there's just so many different types of grief. And I think when we get that cancer diagnosis, or we have a loved one who has that diagnosis, like we're grieving in some way or another. And I think it's important to recognize that that's okay, that all the emotions that we have are okay, that grief doesn't follow this perfect line of, oh, okay, I'm angry, now I'm sad, now I'm accepting things. It's kind of all over the place. And I've done a lot of group facilitation at Morning Hope, and we talk about how it comes in waves, right? Sometimes it might be, just so you're doing okay, and then the next minute, you're not doing okay. Do the next slide. And I love this picture. In fact, because I see kids, adolescents, adults, and a lot of, well, all ages, but a lot of my kids completely relate with this. They're like, that's how it is. That's what it feels like. Like, it's like you can't really describe it per se, right? But it's just like this mess of emotion at any given time. And it's okay. I mean, it sucks, right? But we go there, but we don't have to stay there.
And so how we all cope is individual. I cannot tell someone, just do this and it'll be all better. That doesn't work. So how I cope is I cope with talking to people and connecting with friends who I know have walked similar paths. That's really important to how I'm gonna cope. I know, like Joselyn said, we met and became just instant friends. And so I know I can reach out to her and say, hey, this kind of caught me off guard. Can we, meet for coffee? Or, like I said, I get stuff here down with food, I get stuff here down with all kinds of good stuff. But one of the ways I do actually cope with those is supportive friends. And so, but that might not work for someone else. Someone else might be like, I just want to be alone. Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk about it. And that's giving them the support they need. And I actually, when I had my reoccurrence in December, my husband's like, are you okay? Because I didn't want to meet with people. I was just like, I just want to be home. I just want to be sleeping. But the brain radiation really knocked me out. And I didn't have the energy. Plus I couldn't drive, and I live an hour away. So I just didn't have the energy. So I had to learn to cope in a new way. And so with that supportive network and lots of prayer. That's one of my coping is lots of prayer and just knowing I wasn't alone. So when we say how to cope, we can explain how we've coped, but it might not be what gives you that support. And so
I think for me, some of the pictures I remember, because I'm a walker, and so I did a lot of walking and crying. Like so much so I had like blisters on my feet and I had to figure out different socks. Like I was walking, crying. You too? Yeah, I was like, walk and cry. Oh, walk and cry. Is that better? Okay. So I did lots of walking, lots of crying, lots of praying. I would concur with that. But just different ways of coping is what we were trying to show. Okay, so talking about caring for our mental health, I want to show you a short video. It's from the American Cancer Society. but I think any of us who've been on a cancer journey or have been with someone who has struggled on some level with your mental health.
So hopefully technology will work.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't practiced this.
Oh, yeah.
Click on the blue. We're doing the closed captioning. And I'm gonna try to read with my voice. And no matter where you are in your experience with cancer, taking care of your mind is as important as taking care of your body. This might be hard to do, but here's some information that can help. Anxiety, depression, social isolation, PTSD, and other kinds of mental health distress are common in people with cancer. You might feel sad, isolated, afraid, angry, anxious, hopeless, or unsure of your meaning or purpose in life. Distress can we will clear up the most common myths about distress. Myth number 1, mental health distress goes away after treatment. Sorry, I'm gonna add my own mouth. Treatment or not may feel alone. If you finish treatment, you may see your cancer care team as often as family and friends might assume things are getting back to normal. Amen. However, social isolation and fears of cancer coming back can make distress a long-term side effect. Preparing to cope with distress, even after treatment, can help. Myth number 2, there is nothing I can do that will help distress. In fact, there are things you can do to help cope with distress, especially if you feel like you're stuck because you're not feeling better. Find someone you can talk to. Many therapists use cognitive behavior therapy or CBT to identify and refine hopelessness, helplessness, engaging in CBT with a mental health professional can help you identify and manage distressing thoughts or feelings that contribute to the experience of depression and anxiety. And
For many people, the benefits of CBT continue for years, even after a person has stopped therapy. Support groups are another option if you want to talk to people who have gone through a similar experience. Ask a healthcare provider about medication options. Antidepressants have been shown to help with depression and anxiety and sleep problems. There are different types of antidepressants, and it can sometimes take up to 8 weeks to notice improvement of your symptoms. So don't get discouraged and speak with your provider about any questions you have before starting or stopping a medication. Sometimes there isn't one single fix. Something might even work one day, but not the next. The more coping methods you have ready, the better prepared you'll be when you need them. Ooh, I like that, we just did that. So yoga, music, writing, pet therapy, which we have today, imagery, going outside for a walk, find connection, community, meaningful relationships. And know that some days will be better than others. Try to take it one moment at a time, and it's okay if you don't feel positive all the time. The feeling, what you feel, not ignoring it, can be key to healing. Remember, your mental health is important to your overall health. You are not alone.
And we do recommend, the American Cancer Society is here. They have a booth, and they are a plethora of wonderful resources. So yes, make sure you stop at the booth.
Jocelyn?
Yeah.
Can I say something,
Yeah.
please?
Do you have the microphone?
No. Oh, I don't need that. I know both of these women and have for some time, and I just have to say, I am so inspired by both. Jocelyn helped me so much when I had my own cancer, and Marci, what they forgot to say is in between those cancers, she had a stroke. That was a lot of rehabilitation too, but she has fierce courage. And for you to come here and even read this when the text, I mean, I'm
Well, that's what I always say with my coaching that I do. I call it third down punt, because no one kicks in the third down, but sometimes you just gotta kick it. Right? You just gotta, it's not going as planned, but you gotta kick it. So, thank you.
Paulette was one of the first people we saw when we got here today, and we got like these ginormous hugs, and it was such a great way to start the day. Thank you. I included some statistics, just where it says 60% of those in distress were not referred to a mental health therapist. I think so many times when we're going to appointments, as we all know, it's like one appointment after the next appointment after the next appointment.
Yeah.
And, you know, that doesn't always get considered. Sometimes it's just such a focus on your physical health, which obviously is important, but we gotta look at the whole you, the whole person. Yep, those were just some statistics about it, and just kind of what we just watched, how it can impact us in so many different ways.
All right, the next thing that helps me is I try in the morning to say, today I'm going to be thankful, joyful, and hopeful. And even on my way here, I was like, thank you that this is rain and not freezing rain. Right? Like, it can be simple, thankful, but things to be grateful for each day. Sometimes it's just the sunshine. It's coffee, it's laughter. I mean, just starting your day saying, okay, I'm going to be thankful, joyful, and hopeful. And honestly, the joyful is a lot of times what I'm thankful for. You know, so I like killed two birds with one stone. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So with that hope, the hopeful, I don't know how many are familiar with WRAP. It's a Wellness Recovery Action Plan. I see some heads nodding, but it is something we use at Wellbeing Initiative, and it can be used for mental health, physical health. It basically, it talks about, and you can print off this for free from their website. Wellness Recovery Action Plan is a simple, powerful prevention and wellness process anybody can use to get well. And when I went through the training, they said if it's not free and it's not fun, then it's not WRAP. So it helps you build that wellness toolbox, and also kind of just think to yourself, what is something that happens to me when I'm starting to, that anxiety starting to get more power than it should. So there's 5 key concepts. Hope is the first one. So hope is the belief that we can get well, stay well, and go on to fulfill our dreams and goals. So I love hope. I can't live without it. Like the hope of new treatment, the hope of all the things. Like hope is super important to my wellness. And then there's personal responsibility, education, self-advocacy, support. I would love if you would stop at our booths. There's a book like this, and then there's a workbook that this particular one is mine, so it has all of my WRAP plans in it. But I have a bowl there if you give me your email and you're interested I will give you. So, because I love rap, we have rap groups at Wellbeing Initiative. They are free of charge. You can come anytime. And I have our schedules at our booth as well. So, that's hope for me. Everybody's hope might look different, but that's hope for me.
Yeah, and kind of like Christy was doing our yoga this morning, just mindfulness, right? And knowing that it's not a destination, but it's a journey. And taking time to be in the present moment. So many times when I'm working with clients or patients, it feels, and I remember this so clearly, like I couldn't look too far ahead, or it was just too much. And so I always try to encourage people to just try to stay at that moment to moment, that present time, without getting all those worries that start going everywhere. So slow down, be kind to yourself. Oh yeah, okay, so we're gonna do a short meditation. I love boho beautiful meditations. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. Or labyrinths. Have any of you guys done like a meditative walking labyrinth before? Nice. Anybody else?
Hand over there.
Nice. Was it a good experience for you? Yeah. I love the one at Centerpoint. I've walked that one a few times. I haven't tried the one at Trinity United Methodist, but someone had mentioned that one to me. So it's really however you want it to be for you, right? I guess when I walk it, it's just you're walking this external circle until you get to the middle, and then you're walking back out. I use it, it's a prayer for me. So like I'm praying and stopping and thinking as I'm walking it, and it's really powerful. So if anybody thinks it's cool or interesting, I would definitely encourage you to do it. So let's do, if you guys are on board, we'll do this short meditation. Oh God, yeah, maybe we should. Yeah,
You send us your email at our booth. We'll send you the meditation. How about that?
yeah, you have to hear it to do it, so
I was
yeah.
gonna say, it is beautiful, but it's not good. If we don't have the sound, it's not as impactful. Our voice won't be as relaxed.
No, not like Christie's, and we got that, so thank you very
So,
much.
yes.
But yes, I can definitely give it to you, and if you just YouTube boho beautiful meditation, there's a ton. Like I love the morning one. Do I? Oh yeah, I guess, and like just put it on.
You're smart. See? You're not kidding.
I can pull it up and we can connect to that little speaker that Tracy had, so it's loud.
Oh, cool, okay.
Look at us figuring out the technology.
While we're pulling that up, I forgot a quote about hope. My friend told me when I was first diagnosed, she said, I will hold on to hope for you until you can hold it yourself. And I remember writing that down because I was like, yeah, because it's hard to find hope at the, especially at the beginning. So I will hold on to hope for you until you can hold it yourself.
So we'll. Okay, everybody ready? You can either close your eyes, keep them open, whatever's comfortable for you, but I'm gonna have Christy turn the lights down. Don't fall asleep.
Welcome to your 5-minute meditation for peace, recentering, and balance. Sometimes we feel like we need to dedicate 20 or 30 minutes or more to get into a deep meditative practice. However, let this experience in the next 5 minutes remind you that the real work is done the moment you decide to take even 5 minutes out of your day to breathe, unplug, and recenter your mind. So thank you for finding this moment right now in your day and doing something beautiful for your inner peace and balance. Let us begin today by coming into a comfortable seated position with your back straight, your hands rested on your knees or your lap. Close your eyes And just take a deep inhale. And exhale out. Exhale any tension, worry, uncertainty, or fear that you may be feeling within you today. Let it go with the intention of emptying yourself to welcome only positive and radiant energy that serves you and your inner being. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale deeply into your own heart. Feel the strength of your heart. Feel the beauty of your heart. Feel the power of your heart. See yourself inhaling powerful healing energy into this beautiful heart, allowing this energy to nourish every part of your body from within. Inhale. And as you exhale, see yourself letting go of the low vibrational energy that continues to linger. There is no room for this anymore. Empty your heart as you exhale. Empty it out. Let go of the fear because you are powerful. Let go of the doubt because you are guided. Let go of the pain because you are protected. Let it go. Inhale. And exhale. Stay with your breath. Notice any sensations that begin to arise within your body or your mind. Be the watcher. Don't attach yourself to anything but the simple action of inhalation and exhalation. Let each breath guide your heart to gratitude. Finding gratitude for this beautiful day, for your strong and healthy body, for your creative and powerful mind. Inhale and exhale. Stay here for a moment or for as long as you need today. Simply being one with the pure awareness of breath and your pure energy flow. Thank you for being here. Thank you for breathing with me. Never forget that you are powerful, that you are loved, and that you are loved. Thank you. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.
Thank you, Christy. I think a lot of the words that we just heard at the end were very similar to what we were doing with the yoga with Christy, and I think it's so important to include that positive imagery, those positive affirmations, even when we're in really hard places.
Okay, and just to continue on with that, the power of our thoughts. Life doesn't get easier or more forgiving. We get stronger and more resilient. The body achieves what the mind believes. This one is one of those that I'm like, yeah, but does it? get sick. And so that's something that helped my mind go, there's a purpose for the pain, there's a purpose of why I'm so violently ill.
So I think sometimes reframing those thoughts, right? Which is hard to do sometimes.
And life is very interesting. In the end, some of your greatest pains become your greatest strengths. We're all here because we love someone with cancer, or we're going through cancer, or we're helping someone with cancer, supporting them. So, we all have purpose in this. So, never forget that. Never forget that. Okay, support groups. Like Joselyn said, this is a little thing that I made for when I first became a peer support specialist. I started a cancer support group. Since I live in Utica, I wanted it over Zoom because when I was going through treatment and coming to Lincoln, the last thing I wanted to do was drive to Lincoln for a support group. It's just what it was. I did not want to have to drive to Lincoln again. So I created a Zoom support group, and support groups provide an opportunity to be with people facing similar issues. Safe place to openly talk about our feelings, help people feel less alone, improve the quality of life, and reduce isolation, gain perspective. I think we're at time. Is our time? You close, okay. And the nice thing about support groups is you meet people who are going through something similar. There's no criticism or judging. And one thing we say at Wellbeing Initiative is no one will should on you. It's no shooting on yourself and no shooting on others. So you'll never hear, well, you should just do this. I don't know about you, but when I first got diagnosed, all of this like, well, you should take this magic pill and this. Blah, 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 blah. I need to listen to my doctor. I'm already overwhelmed. I don't want to listen to anything else. So support groups will not should on you.
And also individual counseling, right? Being able to have that one-on-one support. I find oftentimes when I'm working with folks who are going through cancer or grief, there's a lot of other things that we've dealt with in our life, right? So it's not just the cancer, it's a lot of other things that come together with the cancer. So I think having that support is good as well. And then as Marci was just saying, like having that strong support system, right? Finding those people, our people that can be there for us and help support us along our journey, and that we can help support back.